Hi guys, so today I'm going to be trying to do Aurora Nails. I've been getting tagged in this design style for a really long time and they look super cool, so I want to try. A lot of the videos I've been tagged in are from Nail Bayo. I will link their Instagram below, and they have a couple tutorials that I looked through, and that's sort of what I'm following today. I am throwing my own little ideas into it and just sort of playing around with this design and style because it is super cool and it's so pretty. There are tons of other really amazing tutorials on this design though. I could absolutely be wrong, but I believe that this design sort of originated in Korea, and I feel like all the nails that come out of there are always so beautiful. So I'm excited to try this on mine. A little bit of a fair warning, this video is a little bit chaotic as usual, but what else would you guys expect? So I'm not going to just blabber on too much, and let's get into it. So let's go over the main materials we're going to be using today, and I'm going to talk about what I got. So obviously this decal paper foil isn't exact what the person was using, but I did want to just also see how some of this would look in that same fashion, if you get what I mean. These are a lot of cool textures, and I think that they are fairly translucent. Yes, they are. You can totally see. So I do want to see how that will look in that same sort of technique, but I do also just have some of that iridescent foil. And if you can't find foil like this, let me show you like a pack that you can use if you can't find like the clear iridescent kind. So let's say you can only find paper like this. It's not transparent and it is just like, you know, colorful. What you can actually do is grab some acetone and just make it translucent. That coloring will just come off with the acetone. So then you just have your nice clear paper, and then you'll have that clear film to use. I'm gonna try to show you guys, and hopefully you can sort of see when it blurs out a bit, you can see that like really strong purple reflect, and it looks really cool. I will pop in how it looks on a phone camera, and the effect is so much better, but I have this, and these are essentially shards. And then I'm really wanting to use this hollow gold glitter. I think like a purple gold colorway would be really pretty, but I also do have this hollow to put under too if I want. Now I am going to be doing acrylic nails with all this. I will use some gel, but because I want to encapsulate the clear film with acrylic and not gel, just because I'm going to be doing long nails, and that is a lot of gel to encapsulate something. When you're doing those short nails, it can be fine, whatever. They can be a little bit bulky, but it'll look fine, but it is a lot of gel to use and a big hassle, honestly, to encapsulate film and everything like that. So it's easier to do that with acrylic. So today we're going to use acrylic, but obviously that means if I want to encapsulate that, I can use like jelly gel polish under, but I want to create my own jelly glitter acrylics for my acrylic underneath so that the base is still that really pretty, either blue, purple, you know, whatever jelly color with some glitter in it. We're gonna make a couple custom acrylics to start off, and I'm also gonna do a couple tries on these practice sticks so that we can make sure that it's what I want, because I'm gonna do 10 whole fingers of this. I'm gonna probably only show you 5 and do 5 off camera, but essentially all 10 are going on my fingers, so I wanna make sure it's exactly what I want and that it's gonna look perfect, because I have something to do this weekend and I want my nails to look poppin', you know? So that means we're going to start off by making some acrylic. Everyone's favorite time. I'm gonna use this, and then I'm gonna just use this Mia Secret acrylic for underneath. The Mia Secret acrylic I'm gonna use isn't like the clearest acrylic on the market or the best, but it's gonna just be our underneath jelly color, so it doesn't truly matter. What matters is the clear acrylic we're gonna put on top, because we're gonna need to use that to see everything underneath. So I'm gonna just put a ton of this. I'm honestly gonna need a lot of whatever I use, and I feel like whatever color I make, it's honestly gonna be really pretty, and I'll probably wanna use it again anyway, so I'm fine just making a ton of it. I have all of these micas, and let's start with a blue one. I might wanna actually do purple for me though, but I think we should start with a blue. I might also want to make a green. We'll see. But this is going to be jelly, so I'm going to pick a little bit more of an intense blue. We're going with blue rose. For this, I'm going to use like just the smallest amount because I want it to be jelly. I want the color there, but I want to be able to still see through it and see all the glitter. So I put that much in. If we need to add more, we can, but we can't take it back. And then I think, ooh, it's so hard. I don't know which glitter. I definitely want glitter underneath. I don't know if I want to use this one or this one. Ooh, that's so hard. Okay, I'm gonna use Let's use this one. These ones definitely can look yellow, but when you get that like flecked of purple, it's so pretty. So I'm gonna just put that much in, I think. Maybe that much. Okay. And we're actually going to use our mixer for this because I want it mixed 100%. So let's do some mixing. Okay, looks like that blue almost did nothing. Okay, we have a really light blue. I do want a little bit more color than that. Acrylic also does always look lighter before you mix it with the monomer, so I'm going to keep that in mind. And especially like the more layers you're gonna do, the brighter it will be, of course. I think that'll probably be good. Again, not too blue, but just enough. Ooh, I hate that sound. Okay, let's test it. I'm gonna be using my Long Hair Pretty Nails and Poochie's Nails acrylic brush. Love this one. Then this is my Ellen Nailed It dampen dish. I know I have a lot of nice stuff, but honestly, sometimes I'm just the way I am. So I have some monomer in here, so I'm just gonna dump it in here. Get so much prettier, much more professional that way. No one would ever call me professional. Anyway, let's try it. Okay, honestly, if I do say so myself, that is actually a really pretty blue. It's very light, but I really like how that looks. Ooh, and you can sort of get those like really deep purple flecks. Okay, so I really like that one. So we're gonna leave this acrylic as is. It looks like the perfect amount of glitter also is coming in that. I didn't want it to be, you know, overly glittery, but I also wanted it to still show. So let's do a purple now. I might end up doing purple, blue, and green for the nails. We'll have to see. Maybe I'll ombre it. Who knows? Maybe I'll get a little crazy with it. We just have to see. I did also, by the way, run out of my glass jars and I'm trying to use these up. If you're gonna do acrylic, be careful because the monomer will melt plastic jars, so make sure you're not like brushing up against the side or anything. Alrighty, let's make a purple. The purple I want a little bit deeper. All right, there is this purple that looks a little bright though. There's not a ton of purple in here actually. There's that light one. Maybe that purple will have to work. There is this really pretty violet color that is, it's almost a little blue though. It would be really pretty, but I think I'm gonna stick with the purple. There's a lot of purple in here. All right, now we got this purple. I'm gonna put that much in. Hopefully that's good. Maybe one day I'll have some, you know, exact ratios or something I can give y'all, but that day's not today. I love this gold hollow glitter, so we're gonna just put a little bit of that in there. Here she is close up. Let's dump it into the mixing thing. I'm not gonna clean it out because like if it gets that tiny bit of blue, I'm not upset. I just had to clean it out for the last time because the last time we did was orange, I believe. Okay, let's see if it does it. You can sort of see that purple come in. Let's test. Okay, that one's definitely also very pretty. And it's perfect purple, I think. These ones are definitely coming out jelly. I am going to, when I do the nails, definitely be putting down a clear base and then this. So it's not going to be like just packed on jelly, because at some point jelly won't be jelly anymore if you put a ton on. So I would say this one is good to go. And I do want to do a green. I just think green would be so pretty. And I did already pull out these two. So I'm really torn about which one to do. Obviously I would normally gravitate towards this neon, but I think I'm going to go for this slightly dimmer, you know, more, I want to say neutral, less, you know, neon pigment because, you know, these are called like Aurora Nails. No, I sound like a dog now. Anyway, Aurora Nails, and lime green doesn't really go. I know colors can get really bright, but we want to stick to sort of, you know, like a sky, galaxy, aurora theme. So let's do this darker green instead. I did put a little bit more green because this is a lot of acrylic powder. Okay, and then I think I'm going to use this very fine silver hollow glitter. Did it just die? Okay, turns out the battery just died. So I guess that's for sure the last one we're making today. Make sure it's all mixed up. Oh, we're back. Maybe it's clogged. Okay, I think it may be clogged. Regardless, that's it for this one today. That's okay. All right, let's try this green. This one definitely has a little bit more pigment, but very pretty nonetheless. Let's try all of these on some practice nails before we decide what we're putting on my actual nails. Try a couple different combos of the film, and then we will go from there. First, let's try the blue. Hopefully these will just look good, just really quick for this purpose of figuring out. I figured out the issue with these like practice ones is that sometimes the monomer can sort of melt the practice tip since they are plastic. Depending on the monomer, it can be strong and it can do that for sure. Here we are with that, dog hair and all, of course. Can't have it any other way. Gonna let this one dry. We will do the purple now. Now the green. I guess it could almost look sort of like a teal as well. So I haven't actually named a lot of the custom acrylics I've been doing for these like testing videos. So let me do that really quick. All right, so we got our 3 here. So now I want to try and see how they will look with these films. I think these films are just like so cool looking with like some of the oil slick designs and stuff like that. So I'm just going to do like a build a nail gel. First, I should probably cut this out though. Let's use this one. This one I think is really cool. So we'll need to cut out long ways. So let's just put some builder over this. Okay, so this actually stuck down super well, so I'm gonna cure this now. Honestly, it looks better in person because you can see the different like reflex and stuff. So I will show you how this looks in, if I can, natural lighting. It is pouring here, honestly, so I'll do my best for that. But now we're just going to put a thick layer of the builder over this. In person, it looks cool. You can see like all different color, like reflex. It does look like really oil slicked. I definitely will not be filing these and stuff like that just because there's just no reason. We don't need these to be like perfectly smooth or anything like that. We just need it encapsulated so we can see how it's gonna look. I mean, that do look pretty cool though. Let's just put a top coat on it, not that that's not already shiny. I'm also just gonna put a top coat on the bottom too just to make it extra. Okay, so this actually looks super cool. Okay, Appa. Trying with like a white background. I think that it'll be coolest though. Let me show you how it looks through my phone camera. Do you guys see how much cooler that looks in like the phone camera than in my thing? Like, whoa. Okay, so this is one. Let's try the others. I kind of think that this blue is definitely too light. Looking at it now, you can't tell any of the blue almost at all. So if we do use the blue, I will need to tweak it. We're gonna do the green one now, and I'm gonna definitely try this like clear iridescent foil instead of that other one. This is just clear iridescent foil. Once again, we'll use the builder. More builder over the top, especially around the sides. And that's how this one looks. We're gonna look over the white. You can sort of see. I'll show you again with my phone camera. This one looks really cool as well. Like, wow, all the different reflex. Now, there is one more method we're gonna try, and that's with this purple one. So what I've actually seen done for like another extra step of like dimension is you do your top coat over this. I'm using my McCart top coat because I know that powder works really well with it. It's not broke, don't fix it. I think I got this from Ellen Nailed It, but I'm not sure. But it's this powder. And so I'm gonna just wipe off that top coat with rubbing alcohol. Then you take some of this powder and you rub it on here. You can already sort of see the glow it gives. I think I'm gonna just do it with my finger. And it gives like a really good shine. Putting it in my phone light once again so you guys can see. And then they do the foil on top. So I'm gonna use that same just like iridescent one, but I'm actually only going to do it on half. Then I'm gonna take one of these and do it on half as well. And then for this one, I'm just gonna cut the other half. Now we'll take the builder. I'm gonna stick the regular foil on this half and the oil slick one on this half. And here is how this one looks. So this one looks really cool as well, especially with the different reflex. Again, it's so hard to see when it's not in like a certain camera, but you're gonna see now that in this camera on my phone, it looks so cool. It's so hard to choose what I'm gonna do. Because I mean, being honest, all three of these look really cool in my opinion. Although they almost all look sort of cohesive, I think. So maybe I will do some different ombres with them, just sort of mix it up with the rainbows and stuff, just because I think it all looks really good. I do think the blue one does need a little bit more blue added to it, but other than that, I think we're good to go. Okay, so I'm gonna be honest, I kind of already did a set of nails, but I did not like how they turned out. They weren't what we were going for. They didn't look smooth. The paper kind of looked crumply. I just wasn't happy with it. So I removed those. And I'm back at square one, looking extra rough since I just removed those nails. It's the same day, it's a lot going on. So I'm actually going to change up what I'm doing. Last time I did coffin nails, and this time I'm gonna do stiletto just because I think it looks better. And I think I know what my mistakes were now. So hopefully I can give you just like a much clearer way of doing this, because doing them on some natural short length nails is much different than on long nails. I'm gonna take these ones from my cart. This is like their big old bag of false nails. These are the stiletto ones. I'm gonna just wipe off my fingers because they all have all kinds of stuff. They're probably a little bit of acrylic on them, a little bit of gel. Who knows at this point? They don't look too bad for just having like putting on a set, taking off the set within a couple hours. Okay, so let's get these on. Just gonna do the, you know, regular glue. I honestly probably am making it a little bit harder on myself doing it with acrylic, but I made these acrylics. I want to use them, you know? Trying to make sure that they're straight. This one is always never gonna be straight. I feel like no matter what I do, it's okay.
Don't answer the phone, spending the days on my own, then repeats this for weeks to come.
I have my tips on now. These ones, as you can see, have like a little bit of a blunt edge. I'm going to just sharpen all of these up and so they are pointed.
As my life is dismissed, I keep searching for my bliss. It took days to finally start writing songs, but now it's begun. I go oh, 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 oh.
Okay, so I have my tips on. I've prepped my natural nail. I'm just going to finally put on a little bit of primer, help that adhesion. Okay, so now what I'm gonna do with our three acrylics is I'm actually going to sort of not ombre them, but just sort of like marble them, maybe, I guess is the word, all over this. And I'm actually not going to build it up. This is just going to be a color layer because the film does not like to bend. And so when you try to bend it, it ends up looking crinkly and I'm just not a huge fan. So what I'm gonna do instead is just put a super thin layer of the color underneath, put the film, and then we'll encapsulate all of that. Okay, so remember we're gonna try to just do sort of thin, just color, essentially. We're not trying to go for anything too crazy. We're not trying to build up the nail, just do the color. I do definitely think I will end up using a lot of the blue because I really like the blue color. I just think it looks really nice. Okay, that looks like something. So I'm actually going to use this film for a couple reasons. One, I think it looks almost cooler than the normal just iridescent foil. Also, all of these are perfect. They haven't been crumpled in any way, shape, or form, which means I think that it's going to help with how smooth it looks because I really want to create that effect that everything looks like really smooth. Mine just did not look super smooth. And so I'm just gonna cut for one nail out first of all, and we're gonna put this over so we don't bend anything. I just want to do this whole nail since I've failed so many times already, if you know what I mean. Like I don't want to do all this to all of my nails, then it still doesn't even look very good, you know? Okay, I think I'm gonna actually save this piece for another one because I think I need to do the bottom a little bit, you know, bigger for this. It's honestly really hard to cut these. See how cool that will look? Oh, it's just probably gonna be just slightly too big. Again, I gotta trim it. Try not to trim too much off. Like the sides won't really stick if they are on the curve of the nail too much. Here we go. Let's try this now. So we're gonna stick it on with some clear. Do want it to be fairly thin because we're just gonna put it over the entire thing essentially and sort of have it act as glue. And then I'm really just going around and just smushing this into the acrylic as much as possible. I feel like it's nice with acrylic to do this because you can literally just like smush it in as it dries and it will continue to like, you know, form. When I was doing it with gel earlier, which is why it like did not go well, I think it essentially just looked really crinkled. It is kind of round the edges. I should probably put a couple slits. We'll try that next time. But this one I actually think looks pretty decent, crinkled around the edges or not. So now we're going to encapsulate this. And I've been using this clear today from Nailmate, which I really like it. Okay, she bulky, but that's okay. I'd rather have it bulky and it actually look like it's gonna kind of supposed to. You can already tell it's gonna look good. You can just tell. I think I have hope for this one. So basically what that means, so since this one I think worked out and I think it's gonna look good, might have a little bit of trouble at this bottom part here. But you know, let's see, let's wait for it to dry. Since that looks good though, I'm going to just do the rest of the color on the rest of the nails. And I think last time for the thumb, that was the perfect thickness of acrylic on the bottom. So I'm gonna keep it at that. Yeah, we want flat, like not, like not what you would normally want. Trying to do it so that each color does like get seen. Although I'm gonna be honest, I think the blue one is my favorite with those really pretty like purple reflex in it. I'm hoping that tomorrow I will be able to actually see how these are gonna look in the sunlight because it has been raining and super gloomy here for the past couple days. And I feel like all of these glitters and stuff would really just look its best in the sun. So I'm excited to see how they're gonna look in the sun. I can only do so much, you know, with my studio lights. And honestly, I feel like always in the natural light, the nails look the best. The studio lights do not make the nails look their best. These little film strips are honestly so hard to cut out to the right shape. Okay, so this time I'm gonna try to make a couple little slits to see if we can stop some of that bunching. Just gonna do our clear all over. Okay, I think those little slits are gonna help the bunching of it, which is nice. And then everything else is actually just like sticking into place really nicely, like no edges or anything. So now I'm just going to encapsulate this. It's kind of weird just like encapsulating on top of the film because you kind of have to make sure you get around because that's where all of these pieces of acrylic are going to connect to each other and make sure that the film stays in the nail. Okay, I'm really excited for how these are going to turn out. I think this way is so much better and I do not regret taking off that last set at all. I think it's going to be totally worth it to have redone them. It's going to be a lot of filing, but that's fine. They probably will be a little bit thicker than normal too, just to account for, you know, keeping that foil in and not filing up too close to it. Now I have to cut out more nails. I think I'm going to use this specific I don't say foil, I keep switching back between foil and film. This specific one for this hand, and then I think for the other hand I'll do a different one just because there's so many cool ones in there. Oh no, I didn't slit the sides. Okay, hopefully that's fine. Now we just cover. Okay, there's this one. These are pretty thick, but it's fine. I will just file them. It is fine. I am so excited to see how they look though when they're done. I think these are gonna look super cool. Honestly, I feel like the hardest part is cutting out this foil.
Like
Alrighty, so since I'm pretty much doing the same thing over and over, I am going to do this one and then I'm going to do the color on this hand also. And I will come back when it's time to pick a new film pattern, texture, whatever. See you in a second. Alrighty, I have my base color on here and I'm going to use this one this time. Hopefully you guys can see this pattern. I'm going to use this one. It's similar to the other one on this hand, except these little, I guess, oil slicks, whatever, are a lot thinner. I'm just gonna cut this out. Cutting these little slits to help the film bend helps a ton. I feel like this side's gonna look really cool too. This one's still gonna have a little bit of like bunching, but that's okay. Here is this one. Again, I'm excited to see when it's all done. I'm going to just do the rest of these because it's the same thing over and over. Then we have tons of filing to do. Alrighty, I got a lot of filing to do. These are sort of clunky and thick, so let's get to filing. Okay, much better. I'm gonna go wash my hands because we dusty over here and then we'll put on a top coat finally and see how everything looks. I'm so excited. Okay, here we are all clean. Okay, and let's see how this looks with our top coat. Okay, ready? Okay, honestly, this one looks so cool. I think I did file into some of this, but what can you do? Okay, now let's see this one. Still super cool looking. Alrighty, I'm gonna wipe everything off with some rubbing alcohol. And thank you guys so much for watching. Hopefully this video was okay, even though it was kind of all over the place after we made our acrylics, but I hope at least you guys enjoyed me making the acrylics. Thank you guys so much for watching. I will of course show you the after shots, which should hopefully show how cool these are a lot better. I think they're pretty cool, like just looking at them, they just have like so much dimension. They're so shiny, but I feel like the camera right here isn't doing them justice, so I will show you guys a bunch of different angles and shots of them in different places, different cameras and stuff. But again, thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed it, please make sure to give it a like. And I'm going to leave my first like fail set of these nails after this, just like one or two of the nails, so you can see how I did that and you might like it, but I just personally did not. But that way you guys can also see like my fail essentially, since some of you like seeing that, but I just didn't want to bulk up the middle of the video for that. But I will leave that at the end. Okay, bye. It's fine, don't worry about it. For my tips today, I'm going to be using my Macart Pump Ups extra long half cover French tips. I'm going to do these a coffin today because I really love the shape of these tips. For my clear today, I'm going to try this Nail Mate acrylic powder. I'm going to first do a layer of clear before we do anything else because I don't want to stain my nails and I just feel like it's a good base. I think I might do like an ombre if I can. Ooh, that's kind of hard with the purple and the green. And I'm just eyeing these, so I'm just hoping that they'll work. So I have my Kira Sky Builder here, and I'm just going to put that all over the entire nail. Now I'm gonna try to put this on. And I think it's on mainly. I'm having a little bit of trouble with these like little sides right here, but I'm gonna just cure this now. So we have this in, and the sides on here definitely are up a little bit, so I'm gonna just do some more builder. This is going to be a lot of gel, but it's fine. We have a little bit of a ridge right there, so I'm just gonna file it. Now let's put on our top coat. Okay, so what has happened is I did these nails. This one I did with gel on the top. This one was done with acrylic. And I honestly don't love how these look right now. I feel like they don't really look that great. I feel like there's like a lot of wrinkles, and I don't know, I feel like these aren't looking like Aurora nails or anything like that. I feel like they're not looking great. So I'm actually going to just go take off all of this.